Welcome back to Words of Wisdom with myself, Daniel Shin, John McNelly, and Shaveen Jalathke, who's apparently gone off screen. Today on this episode, what we have is an article that we found about top 10 tips for medical students. However, we're going to put our own twist to it. John, let us start us with number one, learning how to study for medical school. What do you think about this?
So when I was reading this article, it was pretty interesting, and it said that one of the first lines of this is to figure out if you're an auditory, visual, or a kinesthetic learner. That's pretty interesting because I never really thought about that. Even now, having like basically finished school, I still haven't thought about it until I read this article. So it's kind of cool that when you're there, don't do what everybody else is doing. Find out what works for you. It might even take you some time to figure that out. Like you might not have that figured out by the end of your first week, maybe even by the end of your first semester. But eventually when you get a sense of like, oh, you know what, I've done well when I've done this, then stick to that and then do what works for you. Don't worry about, the other guy in your class that stayed up till 5 a.m. or didn't sleep the night before the test. Because I don't know how people do that. That would never work for me, for example. But if it works for you, then do it. But if something else works for you better, then stick with what works for you.
Very good. Number two, we have don't compare yourself to others. Shaveen, do you have anything to say about this?
I feel like John kind of tackled it in number one, but yeah, pretty much to allude on it. A lot of people are going to tell you the way they study, the way they're good grades or whatever. But I can't believe that either, because some people might say they only study an hour, but really they're, studying every day of the week. So do what works for you. Use yourself as your own barometer, not others.
Whatever works. Number three and number four seem kind of similar. Number three states, get to know the staff and administration. And number four says, seek out older medical students. I kind of want to put an input there. For number three, I definitely was one of those students. Someone's mic is on, but I'm just going to continue. So number three, getting to know other staff and administration. I definitely did that, especially after the classrooms. After the class time's over, I would be one of those students who would always stick around and get to know the professor a little bit, ask them additional questions. And I definitely encourage you guys to do the same as well. And same thing goes for seeking out older medical students or older chiropractic students. A lot of that includes, getting some of their previous notes that they may have for assignments that they can give you and shed wisdom on. I definitely encourage you to do that as well. For number five, we have making time for and actually doing the non-medical things that you love doing. John, I hear that you play music. Is that true? John?
2, 3, 4.
John?
I can vouch for him. He does play music, jams with his buddies all the time, and he was in a band, I think, for a hot minute.
He was in a band. I think that is outstanding. How would you have time to do that in school in general? Right now, we're going to take a quick pause and a break, and we'll get right back to you, starting with number 6. Type everything. Did you wake up late for a 7 a.m. class? Do you have fish to feed? Does your breakfast look like this? Well, don't forget, you must live with coffee.
Damn those dishes.
Always pour fresh. Welcome back from our sponsor for coffee and chocolate. Right now, we are going to continue with number 6, which says, type everything. Control F will be your best friend. Let me tell you, it is true. Shaveen, do you have anything to say to that?
Honestly, I think you're the guy that could best explain it, because literally, even with lectures that have been posted online or things we haven't been giving notes to, you've typed them out, and come test time, it helps out a lot, because you control F for exactly what you need to look for. Saves you so much time in the long run, and yeah, you're just better equipped to find what you need when you want it right away.
And for those of you who are listening and are curious, he is talking about assignments and online quizzes. and open note exams, because if they were for an online class, that would be cheating. So don't do that. All right, number 7, prioritize your mental health. John, I feel like you have a really good thing to say about this. Thoughts?
Sure. Yeah, sure, Dan. I think that this is super important. There's definitely going to be times throughout your not only education but obviously in your career that are really challenging to your I don't know if I want to say your total mental health, but definitely you're going to face challenges you haven't faced yet in life probably, and they're not going to stop. Like it doesn't just get easy randomly. Like it's going to be difficult forever if you're going to be in a career like this. So taking care of yourself is probably the most important thing. And I think it's a good idea to, put in 110% while you're at school, but then keep your home time free so that you can do things. They talked about Dan plays music like I do and some others, and that was a great stress reliever. So I really tried to make sure that I spent all my time at school doing school stuff so that I had my free time at home to do things that were like a good mental break. And, stuff like playing music's great, exercise is amazing, reading that's not school related reading, like hobby reading, whatever you're into, like gaming, like whatever it is that you can do to take a break and keep your mental health in check, talking to your family, like your friends, keeping your relationships healthy, all that stuff is so important because you're definitely going to go through stressful times, and helping manage that it's paramount.
Definitely. Um, you know, number 8 says nourish meaningful relationships. For that one, I just want to put a quick input and say that is definitely true. If you haven't watched our first episode, go watch the first episode because it talks all about that. But one of the other ways you can do that is by meeting up with your classmates outside of school, playing music together at the way that John suggested, playing games together. There's another classmate of mine that I play Switch games with all the time. And then what does that do? They actually brought not just him, my friend Mike Grillo, but me, John, and Shavin all together. And we would play Smash during our class. Well, not during the class time, but during the class breaks. And it was a lot of fun.
I was doing class.
It was a lot of fun. John, I just got to give him a shout out and say that he is probably the best player amongst the 4 of us. No one has.
I don't know. Sure,
Get out of town.
But he had my number last time we played. I'll give him that. But
Shavin likes to gloat and say that he's the best, but let's be all honest here.
Yeah, he won like one time, but so
only as good as your last game, boys.
Don't be afraid to seek help. That's number 9 on our list of words of wisdom. For not being afraid to seek help, that doesn't just go to your friends, but it also goes to your professors and other tutors if you need them. I know that a lot of you are afraid about your first boards, whether it be American or Canadian. A lot of the people who've taken them before you had either sought help or know the right material to study. So ask them. Don't be afraid to do that. Number 10, embracing professionalism and begin acting the part for a doctor. Would any one of you like to say anything to that? Because I feel like you guys have high opinions about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Shavin. Else we can say something.
Yeah. I think that that's important in terms of like just conduct yourself as an adult in terms of like dignity and respect for others, and like trying to not start drama or stay away from it. You know what I mean? Like put petty little stuff where it belongs, and just don't even address it. In the sense of like acting professional, I think there's ways you can do that, but still can have fun with it and make every day not so cut and dry. You know what I mean? Like patients are people. There's a way to act professional, but also be human with them and have a conversation without getting caught up in like a script you're reading off of.
For sure. Do you guys have any last things to say in our second episodes for Words of Wisdom?
Yeah, just for number 10, I just want to add, obviously it's a fun time being in school. Like you're still a student and your life isn't, you're not working every day yet. But, when you're in a program like this and you're going to have a career like this, the days of like going out in public and like, drinking and stuff and posting edgy like stuff on social media, unfortunately those days are kind of over. But it's not that big of a deal. It's all part of becoming more mature. And, once you're a doctor, you're going to be viewed as that in the public eye all the time. So, you kind of have to learn how to act professional and don't burn any bridges. You never know. Life's really funny and you never know who's going to come back into your life at some point and, you know, might need a favor from you, or you might need a favor from them. So it's not that hard to be a nice person, even if you really can't stand someone at the time. Just pretend and, you know, keep as many good relationships as you can.
That is very true. And just like that, our friendship between the three of us will always remain strong. This is Daniel Shin with John McNally and Shaveen Jailothke, and we're out. Goodbye.
See ya.
Good one, guys.